Can you point to one main reason as to why your relationship with Dana White fell off? Like, was it the reporting that Brock Lesnar was coming back?
No.
Was it the talking about fighter pay and talking about things that, like you mentioned, they considered
Yeah.
negative, and it
There's no smoking gun. There's no like incident. There's no
yeah.
story. Um, the truth is, from the moment I met Dana White in 2009, the first time I interviewed him at UFC 97 in Montreal, coincidentally, where I'm from, up until 2016, when the whole banning, situation happened, I had a really great relationship with him. So much so that I remember not that long before the banning incident, I remember having a conversation with him where one of the PR people at the UFC got mad at me for reporting something. And I remember this like it was yesterday because he was getting his kids ready to school. And like I could just for school, and I could just tell like he was like a little bit distracted. I was like, oh, Dana White's just like us, it's hectic getting your kids ready for school. And I remember him saying, like, people in this company are going to get mad at you for reporting things, but that's your job. Don't forget that's your job. So don't listen to those people. You got it right. You had the info correct. F them, do your thing. And I remember thinking, like, oh, Dana White will never get mad at me for reporting something. This is fantastic. Now, what happened was his business partner and best friend, Lorenzo Fertitta, who, was the money man, along with his brother, Frank Fertitta. Their family owned the Station Casinos. They're incredibly successful people business wise. He used to listen to my show all the time and was really, he's a very sharp guy. He's a very smart guy and like really like looked at everything going on in the space. Dana is kind of like all over the place and maybe wasn't watching and listening to everything. And Lorenzo would keep telling Dana, like, this guy, he's not loyal to us. He's talking about fighter pay. Like, why do you like this guy so much? Why do you have it? I think Dana liked me until the very, very end. But I think it was Lorenzo, the one who was not a fan of mine and didn't like that I talked about the business, like I said, free agency, the competition, Bellator, etc. So much so that when Dana banned me, when they brought me to the back at UFC 199 in the forum to tell me that I was gone, he said, his quote was, Lorenzo just put a bullet in your head. Your career is over. And so that like, was more fuel to my theory that like he was just kind of doing what his friend, told him to do, his business partner. Now, I know now he doesn't really love me. Like, the relationship, I haven't talked to him in almost 8 years, which blows my mind. But it was just a buildup of them feeling like I was not a team player, so to speak. But we've never had that conversation. I was never a team. I was never supposed to be a team player. I'm a journalist, and I think that they get. I don't know. Maybe they wanted me to be something that I didn't want to be. It's a shame. And when I went to ESPN, I was asked to reach out to try to mend the fences. And I didn't really want to because I didn't really feel like I should be the one doing that because I'm the one who lost out on
Yeah.
employment and money and opportunities. They just kept swimming along, but I did it anyway to be a good soldier, and I never heard back. And all I heard were headaches and issues and problems and roadblocks and all that stuff to the point that I, decided that I didn't want to be a part of that ecosystem anymore. They made it very difficult for me towards the end. I wasn't allowed to enter the arena the same way that my colleagues were entering. I had to go through the back. It was just like I felt like I felt lesser than human. It was bizarre, and all for what? Just because they didn't like the idea of me being around. Now there is some revisionist history out there. People still think that I'm banned by the UFC and that I've been banned since 2016. I was banned for 48 hours. I didn't miss a single event. I was banned at UFC 199 and I was brought back 48 hours later and I was at 200 and 201 and 202 and 203. And I was at all the events when I was working for ESPN. My last event was in March of 2020. 3 days later, the pandemic hits and none of us traveled. And then actually, coincidentally, my first event back was supposed to be in June of 2021. Once things started to open up, they had an event in Arizona, but then the contract was up and I was done. And when I left, I said to myself that I don't want to go back.
And
I just,
you haven't requested a UFC credential
no,
since.
I have not applied for a UFC credential since March of 2020, since UFC 248, I believe that was Yoel Romero, Israel Adesanya. Now, you may reach out to them and say, hey, is Ariel allowed? And they may say, F him. No, but I have not been denied.
Yeah.
I'm sure they wouldn't roll out the red carpet. I have not applied, and I have no intent on applying only because I didn't like the way I was feeling and the way I was treated when I was there, and I came to the conclusion that I don't need to be there to do my job,
Yeah.
clearly. Um, and so that's it. No hard feelings. Like I said, my life is devoted to talking about this sport, and I think I do so in a very positive manner. It's just unfortunate that for whatever reason, we're not the best of pals.